Good morning, boys. Today is Wednesday, so we are going to be doing a math lesson together. We are still working on clocks and time to the hour, and this week we are going to be looking at how to draw our clocks. So what I need today is my math booklet, my visual of my clock, my writing utensil, and something straight so I can make straight lines. Now remember, with our clocks we have two hands. We have a big hand and a little hand. Our little hand tells us what hour it is, and our big hand tells us the minutes. So when I look at my first question, it tells me that I have to find 3 o'clock. So I'm going to use my clock visual to help me out. I know my big hand has to be at the 12 when it's an o'clock, and my hour hand has to be at the 3. So here is 3 o'clock on my visual. Now I have to draw this over here. Now our hands are different sizes, so we want to make sure that our lines are not the same size so that we're able to tell the difference. I'm going to use my sticky note to help me draw a straight line to the 3. And I'm just going to make a short line so I can tell that it's my hour hand. Make it into an arrow. And I'll use my sticky note for my minute hand to the 12, and I'll make sure I make it a big hand for my minute hand. And make it an arrow. Perfect. Now I have 3 o'clock on my clock face for my analog clock, and it says 3 o'clock digitally. Let's do our next question. This question tells us to find 10 o'clock. So I know for my o'clock, my minute hand stays the same at my 12, but my hour hand has to go to 10 instead of being at 3. So I'm going to move it all the way to my 10. So my big hand is my small hand is facing the 10. My big hand is facing the 12. I'm going to take my handy dandy sticky note again to help me draw my straight lines. Now I remember my small hand goes to the 10 for my hour hand. And my big hand goes to my 12, which is my minute hand. Now I have 10 o'clock on the face of my analog clock and 10 o'clock matching on my digital clock. Let's go to the next one together. This question is asking us to find 6 o'clock. We are still doing time to the hour, so my o'clock stays the same with my minute hand pointing to the 12. But instead of being a 10, I have to find the 6. So I'm going to hold my minute hand down, move my hours all the way to the 6. Small hand to the hour, big hand to the minutes. Use my handy dandy sticky note again to help with my straight lines. My small hand going to the 6. And my big hand going to the 12. 6 o'clock on my analog clock face, 6 o'clock digitally. We are good to go to our last question. We are now finding 2 o'clock. So our o'clock still time to the hour. My minute hand is still at 12, but my hour hand is different. It is not at 6 anymore. It is supposed to be at 2. So I'm going to move my small hand to the 2 so that my hour is 2 and my minutes are at the 0. So my last time today, I'm going to use my sticky note, draw my small hand facing the 2, and use my big hand, my minute hand, to face the 12. I have 2 o'clock on my analog clock, 2 o'clock digitally, and 2 o'clock visually. Thanks, boys.